the Michigan couple arrested. The perp walk went missing because it does bring up, well, everything is an interesting comparison, isn't it? After the deadly Oxford High School shooting that left 4 students dead, 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley faces 24 charges. There he is, the parent on either side of him. It's a pitiful sight, but what was done is even worse. Terrorism, first-degree murder, all that's on the table for Ethan. His parents, James and Jennifer, they're being charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The couple was found Saturday morning in the basement of a Detroit building after failing to turn themselves in on Friday, rather cowardly. They pleaded not guilty. Our justice correspondent Candace Kelley joins us live with some added legal perspective here. And Candace, good morning to you. This is the first time that we know of that a parent was charged with this type of mass killing. What's the reasoning behind this? Because the prosecutor, as I recall, said it's a slam dunk, overwhelming evidence here.
Absolutely, Sharon. Good morning. Overwhelming evidence, as you said. The evidence, what it was, first of all, they came to the school after they were called because their son was doing questionable things, looking for ammunition on his cell phone, writing and creating pictures that showed really a bloody scene and saying that he couldn't help himself. When they came to the school, not only did they tell parents that there was really nothing the matter with him, but they refused to take him home. When counselors had said to him, he needs to go home, they went to work and they said, we're not going to do it. In addition to that, they bought this handgun and had it open and available to their son. They made it seem like it was his. They didn't do anything that would kind of lend itself to show that they cared. On a message that she wrote to her son after he was caught looking for information about ammunition, she created the message, text message, LOL. You have to make sure that you don't have to get caught. So these were all of the things that led the prosecutor to really, for one of the first times, as you said, that we know of, charge the parents each with 4 counts of manslaughter, saying that they were negligent or reckless in the process of dealing with this whole situation. So definitely something that we have to see will play out, and whether or not really these charges will stick as they go through the proceedings.
Yeah, these parents, no love lost, but there's always going to be people, Candace, who fill up that basket of deplorables and don't have good judgment and don't seemingly want to raise their children. I want to talk about the school officials.
Yeah.
Seemingly, there were safeguards in place, but did they go far enough? If it's up to perhaps a deplorable to say whether their kid gets to stay inside a school building, risking the lives of others, instead of the administration, then are we ever really safe here? Who at the school should or will potentially pay for this?
Well, Sharon, I think that a lot of people can share the blame when you have someone who on 2 different days by separate teachers comes to the office and says, there's a problem, let's call in the parents. At that time, it stayed on the council level, which was interesting. It didn't go to the principal's level to make a determination. The counselors said that they were trained, and based on their training, they didn't think that there was anything wrong. The shooter in this case said that he was looking up something having to do with a video game that he was creating, and that's why he was looking up ammunition and drawing these pictures. But the counselors and the principal at this time are saying the counselors are trained. They said they didn't see any signs, and therefore he was able to go back to his class. One thing that they didn't do, and I think that this is the biggest deal, Sharon, is that this young man, had a backpack that they could have searched. Law supported it based upon everything that was presented to them. They did not search his backpack, and that is where they say that his gun probably was when he went into the bathroom to get it out and come out and kill 4 people and wound others. So they certainly, I think, share some culpability. I do think that they will be sued, and it will be a hard one for them to say otherwise, that they didn't do everything that they were supposed to do. It's exhausting.
Yeah,
It is.
And it really is, because, a school counselor in a public school, let me tell you something. Thousands, maybe. One counselor, thousands of students. So regardless of training, That doesn't seem to pass the mustard here. How does the school explain deliberately, willfully letting the shooter back into class? Because again, two teachers, the teachers did what they were supposed to do, even snapping the picture on their cell phone, Candace, yet he's back, and he's back this time to kill.
Well, one of the things that the teacher said and the counselor said and that the principal said was that he didn't have any record. And that is often the case. He didn't have a record that led them to believe that anything would happen. Though it's interesting, the day before he did come in, I would consider that a record. So I'm not sure how they're going to get around that because he came in 2 back-to-back days. So by that second day, he did have a record. He was there the day before, but they didn't count that as such in terms of something being a threat. Here was a young man who was just looking up and researching violent video games. I don't think there's a lot that they can say because, again, this type of search in terms of maybe if they had the opportunity and should have searched the bag, Supreme Court of the United States has talked about what are the prerequisites to search a student's bag at school. The law supports the school on this. They should have searched that bag. They definitely should have searched that bag. And I'm not sure how they're going to say anything around that. But what they're sticking to is that the counselors are trained. They didn't see him as a threat. And that is the story that they're sticking to.
All right, well, a lot more to unpack here. Again, the parents need to be disposed of legally as expediently as possible. We'll see what happens there. But I want to send my kid to school and know that she has a chance, Candace.
Yes.
That's what parents want. And
yeah, and when you look at that, the school has to be accountable. The parents have to be accountable. It really is everybody in the whole process that has to be accountable and watch their children, especially during these times of social media when so many students are getting bullied. There have been hundreds of shootings, close to 400 this year. So how they could have not seen this, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure, Sharon.
He drew a picture. He gave him the blueprint.
Yeah,
and then
literally.
He killed. Thank you, Candace. Appreciate you always. We'll check back.